Hey everyone, it's Leonette. Welcome back to DIY Beauty on Purpose. Today I am bringing you a farmhouse trash to treasure, and I am using drawers from old dressers. I am so excited because I love using things that are meant, or not meant, but just things that are not wouldn't have any use anymore to turn them into awesome decor, especially if it's farmhouse style. Because if you know me, you know I like my farmhouse decor. But first, I want to tell you about my lovely friend here, Heidi Sonboul from Heidi Sonboul DIY. I am bringing you this video because in collaboration with her, she contacted me and invited me. And if you have not visited her channel, I highly suggest you take a minute and check out her channel. She has amazing videos, all with Dollar Tree, trash to treasures, farmhouse decor, just lovely. You're gonna love her channel. So when you're done watching this, I'll have her channel linked down below. Please visit her. All right, so now on to my first project here. So like I said, this is part of a drawer. Is one of those like end portions of one of the sides of the drawers that I kept from an old dresser that I redid. So I am going to leave it very imperfect. So you see that big chunk that's missing on top. I'm going to leave it as is. I love that. It just looks imperfect. It looks like it's been old for a long time. But I am cutting the ends because of course I don't want those dovetail end to show. And I cut it to fit the stencil that I cut for what I'm going to put on it, which is my logo. But first I am going to give it a very rough one coat of paint. This is actually regular latex paint that I added some BB Frost to it to convert it into a chalk paint finish. If you don't know what BB Frost is, this video is not sponsored for them, but I am using their paint, so I wanted to give them a shout out. I'll have it linked down below. It is just this really cool chalk-like oh my gosh, powder that you can add to any paint and create it or make it into chalk paint. So that's what I'm using here. And again, I said very rough because it's just going to be not perfect at all. Again, I want this sign to be very distressed, very worn out. I'm going to let it fully dry, and then now I am going to distress it pretty heavily, especially on the corners and the edges, and then just make things look pretty old. I love the imperfections just like right there in the corner. Once you sand it, it just starts to pop and show, and I love that look. So I am done distressing it. By the way, I did use my, my palm sander, and it's by Ryobi, and what did I use? I think I used a 220 grit sandpaper for this one. So I'm dusting everything off. And this stencil I created with my Cricut. This is my logo with DIY Beauty on Purpose. I have all these supplies, including the palm sander, the stencil, the vinyl, the transfer tape, all that, the Cricut. It's all on my Amazon store. If you're interested in checking that out, it'll be linked down below. So I am just going to remove the backing now. And I did make an error when I was designing my logo. As you can see, the DIY on top was cut. The very top of it was cut off. I left it because I was not about to throw away a whole stencil just because of that. I can always freehand those little details that are missing from the top. So again, I'm just going to now put on the stencil or the vinyl, and then remove now the transfer tape, and then get going. Guys, this transfer tape is amazing. I have it in my Amazon store. I'm telling you, I know I've said it before, but I am just so in love with using my Cricut again because of this transfer tape. I love it. All right, so for the for the stenciling, I'm going to use Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the charcoal tone, and I'm going to use a sponge stenciling brush that I got at Walmart. And that's it. I'm just going to stencil it. I had yet to have a logo sign made, and I'm so excited. I am hoping to place this one, or actually I did place it right above the entryway to my little studio at home, and I'm so in love with it. I just feel so official, and I just really happy with the way it turned out. So here I am, just like I said earlier, I'm just going to freehand the very top. Yes, this is a makeup brush. I often use my makeup brushes that I'm not going to use anymore for makeup because they can be very good for painting. So now I'm going to lightly distress the letters so that they kind of match the sign to go along with it. Not too much, but I do want them to be a little bit distressed. And then to finalize things, I'm just going to add 2 screws to the back and some wire just so that I can hang it above my entryway to my studio, and I'll be all done. And there's what that sign looks like. I am so happy with it. I think it is absolutely perfect for my little entryway. It matches my home decor and it has my logo. So I'm really happy, and I love that chippy farmhouse old look that it has. All right, so for my next project, guys, this is going to be a little bit more extensive, but it's so worth it. So I am taking these 2 drawers that I got off of a desk that I updated into 2 side tables or 2 nightstands, and these 4 legs that are off of a table that was absolutely in the garbage. Literally, it was in the garbage, and I took off the legs of it because the legs are super cute. The table was not in good shape, so I did end up getting rid of that. So the goal for these 2 drawers is to turn them into a side table with a farmhouse look. So I am going to put them together or join them together using wood glue and some clamps, and then let the wood glue dry. I'm also going to place a paint or a can of paint on top just to add a little bit more weight to it for pressure, so that way that glue bonds very well. I did end up putting, and it's not on the video, but I did end up putting a couple brad nails using my brad nail gun, but only on the edges because that's as far as my nail gun was able to reach. So it's just a couple on each side to help secure the bond between the 2 drawers. All right, so I measured earlier the top, or the width and the depth of the 2 drawers together. And now I'm going to cut 4 pieces of this 1x10 that we got at the hardware store. And the reason to it is because I want the 2 drawers to rest on solid wood, and also I want to build a top for the drawers so that it can be a table, and I want it to flip open. So it's going to have kind of like a trunk look. So I'm really excited about this, guys. You're going to see how beautiful this table turned out. So once I had the 4 pieces cut, I am going to add pocket holes on just 2 of the boards, and I'm going to add 3 pocket holes on one end, on the side, so on the longer side. This Craig jig is awesome, guys. I do have it on my Amazon store. If you're interested in looking at it, they do sell a smaller one, but in my opinion, this is better just because you can clamp it, it's secure, and I just really love it. I use it all the time. So once the pocket holes were made, I am now sanding it. All right, so now I moved inside, and I'm going to join both, or each board, oh my gosh, the 4 boards. I'm going to join 2 together, and that way to create the bottom and the top. I am using pocket hole screws. These are the 1.25 inches, which is the appropriate size for the thickness of this wood. And that's it. I'm just going to join them, and that way it has nice strong joints. And I did the same thing on the other 2 boards. All right, so I flipped over. So now the drawers are semi-glued. I did have to flip them very carefully. So the wood glue is still kind of drying, but I did flip them over, and I'm adding wood glue to the edges because those are the raised part. That's where the wood board is going to lay on, if that makes sense. So I added wood glue, and now I'm going to use brad nails to secure it, but only brad nails on those edges because those are the ones that are going to attach to. So I'm going to be very careful on where I place those brad nails, making sure that I stay on the edges so that they do not poke through the drawer. And you don't want anything poking through the drawer because if I'm going to store things in it, I don't want anything to rip. All right, so now I took the 2 drawers to my table, and I'm going to place these hinges that I got at the hardware store. I'm just going to place 2, one on each side, and this is what's going to make the top now a nice door to be able to close it open. I'm so happy about this, guys. You don't understand. I'm so excited because we are in need of this side little table to go on this little part in our living room, and this is going to be perfect there. You'll see. So I marked with a pencil where the 3 holes should go. Not that I needed to mark them, but I just wanted to make sure that the hinge part was right in the center where the 2 boards meet. And then I attach the other hinge to the other side. All right, so I am going to oh my gosh, I do not have the pulls that came with the drawers, but I'm okay with it because I have other plans for it. So I'm going to fill in the holes with some wood filler, let it dry. While the wood filler dries, I am going to stain the top, just the top. I'm not going to do the bottom. The reason being is because I want this table to also have a very chippy, distressed look, and when I distress the top, I want that darker tone to come through or pop through the white paint that I'll be painting it with. So that's why I am staining it. And this stain is by Varathane, and it's their Briar Smoke. It's one of my favorite. I have not used it in a while, but I'm very happy I still have it because it looks very nicely when it pops through that white. All right, so the wood filler is almost dry. So I'm sanding it with a 220 grit sandpaper, making sure it's nice and smooth. And I'm also sanding a little bit of the finish that were on the drawers that was chipping off. All right, so onto the legs. I am going to remove this top part just by cutting right there with my miter saw. I didn't show that because it's just cutting them, but that's where I cut. So now I'm using a square because I want to mark 2 inches from each corner. So I am going to mark 2 inches from each side so that I can find a nice center point. And I'll do that on all 4 corners so that I know where to pre-drill holes to attach the legs. And then I grab a drill bit that would be appropriate size for the screw that I'll be using. And I'm going to drill holes on the bottom or each corner as well as the middle of each leg on the part that I cut. And now I am adding a good amount of wood glue because I want these legs to be very, very secure, very, very tight. And I'm going to screw in the screw from the inside of the drawer using my drill into the leg. And then once I had it screwed in, I did make sure that I tighten by just, like you would any other like table leg. You just tighten it, and then it was pretty tight. But I'm sorry you can't see the inside of the drawer because I don't have a camera in there. But basically, I was just screwing in the screw, as you can see, from the inside, and then attaching the leg on the outside. And then, of course, I did this with all 4 legs. So now the table is assembled. Now, I'm sure you're probably going to notice that left upper corner is not even. I tried. Trust me, I tried. But if I evened out the front, that meant the back was uneven, and then the hinges could not be tightened well. So I preferred the hinges to be nice and secure and tight. And I'm not going to lose sleep over it, although I would have preferred for it to be nice and even. These drawers are very old, and so they did have a curve to them, but that's just adds to the farmhouse old look that I want this table to have. I want this table to look like it's been around for many, many years and is weathered and chipped. And so I think that little curve that drawer has that didn't allow that top to line up well just adds to the character. But in the ideal world, I would have wanted to, you can see it better there. See how it didn't match. But in an ideal world, I would have wanted to match. But again, like I said, it just adds to the character, and I ended up being okay with it. So I added a coat of Kiehl's primer in the stain blocking formula, and then I'm going to add 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And of course, I let each coat dry in between. I am using my Toddler and Tatum, yes, chalk paintbrush. Again, I have most of these products in my Amazon store link down below. And if you have not visited my merchandise store, the shirt that I have on that says I am a DIY Beauty is now available in my merchandise store, so it'll be linked down below in the description box as well. All right, so I'm going to use these catalog card pools that I got off of Amazon. Again, is also on my Amazon store. And I'm going to spray paint them in a flat black by Rust-Oleum, so that way it matches the rest of my decor. I recently updated my entertainment center, my media center, and I spray painted it with the same, or spray painted the hardware with the same paint. So I want it to match. I decided to add a stencil to the top of the table. This stencil is one that I got online. I want to say it was from Essential Stencil, but I'm not sure. I will link the 2 stores that I mainly get my stencils from, but it might also be from Amazon, so I'll research it. If I find it, I'll link it down below. What I want this stencil to look like is a French script, and what I want it to look like, I want it to look like this writing has been on this table for years, and it has faded through the years. So that's why you're going to see me doing it very randomly. And I think I kind of did okay. I really like the way it turned out. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, very lightly, even less writing. Again, just making it look like the writing kind of just faded through the years. All right, so now on to the distressing. I'm using a 120 grit sandpaper to get really through that the 2 coats of paint and the 1 coat of primer. And I'm going to distress pretty heavily the table on all the edges. The fronts of the drawers are going to be distressed. I want this to have a very old, weathered look. Alright guys, so I am pre-drilling holes where I want the pools to be on. And then I'm just going to attach them using some screws, some small screws. They're not really drawers, so you're not going to pull on them. So small screws was sufficient to use. I also want to take a minute here and let you know about my new blog. I have a new blog at DIYbeautyonpurpose.com. It's very new. I only have like 1 post, but I will be posting monthly blogs about my favorite things, about exclusive DIYs. So I would love for you to visit it. Again, it's in the description down below, and we can connect there too. All right, guys, so there it is. I'm so happy. I am so happy with this table. Guys, and it was literally practically free. Yes, we had to buy the 1x10, but that's not too expensive. And I still have another part that was left over, and the pools were not much either. Look how beautiful. I just love it. It's perfect for that little side corner of the living room with that rocker. Love it. All right. I hope you like it, guys. I hope you are inspired by it to use old things and make them into new things. And I'm so happy you tuned in and that you watched to the end, and I'm just so thankful for you to watch. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, as always, I invite you to do so, and I hope you have a blessed day.